Hello, Coach Adrian here. So I'm doing a video in response to my TikTok question of, can a fatherless daughter who married to fill a void and later, when she realized the toxic relationship was just not healthy for herself, for her children, um, she needed to go after staying for, longer than she should have, in fear that her children would then have suffer through having a fatherless daughter experience or not have a positive father daughter experience. Um, can she have a positive co-parenting experience? And before I answer that question, I want to tell you a little bit about my story. So I did not have my father in my life. I can count on my hand the number of times I actually saw my father before he passed away. And it took me a while to realize it. I mean, I know that I had low self-esteem and had this identity issue and all of that, but I didn't realize, where it came from until I was maybe in my 20s. And then after doing some work, later on, even after that, after doing some work and some reflecting, I realized that I remembered, after doing some shadow work, I remembered that as a young girl, I reasoned within myself that my father wasn't in my life because I just wasn't important enough. He didn't love me. I'm not enough, and that belief system translated into I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, no man will ever love me. Yeah. And so I had this void. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be loved by a man. I wanted to be validated. And so as soon as I could, I got myself married to get that, that love that I had been searching for. And unfortunately, not doing the healing work, not even realizing I needed to do that, and meeting my children's father and getting married very quickly, I basically married someone who mirrored how I felt about myself. So you can imagine, being in that marriage, already feeling worthless. I just felt even worse. And so I knew from jump that that it just, it wasn't going, it just wasn't what it was supposed to be. But there's some other reasons why I stayed. But today we're going to focus on me staying in fear that my daughters would feel like I felt. And because unfortunately that was threatened, that if we were to separate, if we were to divorce, it was threatened that, he would no longer be in their lives. And then just a fear on my own, I just couldn't see past, the separation, divorce. I'm thinking, it's just over and he's not going to be in their life. And now I'm going to have these two daughters who don't know their father and going to have the same void that I had. And so I stayed longer than I needed to out of that fear. But after I started doing some work on myself, started that self-love journey, started that healing journey, I realized, first of all, I can do bad all by myself. And I saw that it was it was more hurt than harm, not only for me, but for him and for my daughters. So I ended up making that move. Now, my daughters and their father it took some work. It took a lot of work, healing and forgiveness, me doing the healing work and forgiveness work, being that example for my girls or doing the healing and forgiveness work. Just, some family therapy for them. And so they're older. When they were older, they begin to make that decision for themselves that they, wanted to spend some time with their father. And, it took some work for me to teach them how to set boundaries. Because unfortunately we are dealing with a narcissist. And that's all I'm going to say about that for now. And yeah, I'm looking over at my notes. So just teaching them how to set boundaries and advocate for themselves. And, at any time they felt like they wanted to leave, let me know. It's their choice. So not forcing a relationship, is letting it be up to them. They were older. And, all of this also, just even trying to forge a relationship once there's a divorce and, you're trying to figure out the children and how they're going to spend time with both adults. If you have if one of the adults, it just depends on the nature of the separation and divorce. If one of the adults is abusive, the children are very young, so, you got to take all that into consideration. So like I said, we were dealing with a narcissist, and that can be very traumatic as well. So I had to just teach them how to advocate for themselves and teach them, the cycles of a narcissist, and teach them, how to set boundaries, and that it's okay, even if it's your father, even if it was your mother, you can set boundaries. And, when it's time to go, it's time to go. Have your exit plan. And then as far as the co-parenting, so that's a part of it, just you can decide how involved you want to be. My girls were a little, as they got a little older, they decided they wanted to start spending some time with their dad. And so, like I said, I taught them how to self-advocate and set limits and have an exit plan. And I taught them the different cycles of narcissism so they could know, what's going on. And at first, that was it. We didn't talk, nothing. It's just, they let me know when they were going to visit their dad. And he picked them up, he dropped them off. That's in the beginning, that's how much I wanted to be involved. And that was absolutely fine. And some things came up where I did want to talk to him. And there were some times where I saw, okay, nope, we're going to cut this off. I'm not, no more. We don't need to communicate. They're old enough to speak up for themselves and let me know what's going on, and so on and so forth. So you can gauge it. And then if you see that your spouse has gotten a little bit more mature, the communication is a little better, you decide how much you want to be involved. And so we had a little situation where I just needed some advice on how to handle it with one of our daughters. Very mature conversation. And we worked together to solve it. So yeah, you have to gauge it, and you can be as involved as you want to be. And it depends on the age of the children. But you want to prepare them, especially, depending on what type of personality you're dealing with. So, long answer, but yes. You can have a healthy co-parenting experience. Fatherless women out there who happen to have been in a relationship or marriage, and the marriage is now over, the relationship is now over, there is a possibility for you to have for your children, well, for you and your spouse to have or ex-spouse to have a healthy co-parenting experience. Thank you for listening and viewing my video. Subscribe, leave a message, like. Thank you. Peace.